Welcome. In this video, Chapter 1, One Emergency, and One Night of Girls Frontline will be summarized. Throughout the video, there will be spoilers for the story of Girls Frontline. If you don't want to be spoiled, please go and play the game. Chapter 1 of Girls Frontline starts with a lively young girl introducing herself to the commander. Her name is Kalina, the logistics officer for the G&K Forward Operations Base in Area SO9. She informs the commander that they are now a tactical commander under Griffin, assuring that the commander is right for the job because Griffin's selection process is notoriously tough. Kalina then shows the commander how to use their tactical map, and drills the commander on how to deploy and command the T-Dolls. After completing the drill, the Griffin T-Dolls come across another T-Doll, Sten Mark II, asking to be taken with, and thanks the commander, promising that she'll do her best. Kalina is surprised by the retrieval of a stranded T-Doll, but welcomes her in with open arms, citing the increase in Sangva's fairy attacks recently being the cause of left behind or stranded T-Dolls, and asks the commander to save as many as they can. Kalina then explains what G&K is, saying it's a PMC comprised mostly of T-Dolls. G&K's duty is to accept commissions from financial groups and other organizations, and to safeguard human settlements. One of the biggest threats to G&K territories are the rogue T-Dolls made by SF, and it's the commander's job to manage and direct T-Doll troops in repelling SF forces in the area. A while later, the commander and Kalina start to run another drill. Kalina apologizes to the commander, explaining that they should continue with drills, but there's been a change of plans. A video call from G&K HQ comes through and a stern woman in uniform shows up in the video call. The woman introduces herself as Helianthus, the senior acting officer of Griffin. Helian explains that she has been sent to Area S09 to investigate the sudden attacks from SF forces, as it has negatively affected Griffin's reputation, and the commander will be assisting Helian until her work is done. Kalina is concerned as the commander has only done one drill, but Helian explains that G&K doesn't have time or manpower to spare waiting, and judging from their past results, the commander is more than qualified. The commander is directed by Helian towards a new mission, where enemy movements have been detected behind the field, and the commander must deal with them before they gather intel. After successfully crushing the SF squad, as well as destroying the communication system in their command post, Helian commends the commander for a job well done, far exceeding her expectations. Helian picks up on the commander not being clear about what SF is. She explains that Sangva's Fairy Manufacturing is an industrial producer specializing in tactical dolls. Due to their possession of some undisclosed technology, SF T-Dolls have extremely high battle efficiency, but not so long ago, their T-Dolls suddenly went rogue and began launching indiscriminate attacks against all humans within their factory. Now, they're occupying a vast area of human settlements and strategically expanding their territory. Helian believes SF to be an enemy of humanity, and because their territory borders areas under G&K jurisdiction, they have been recruiting suitable candidates to command and coordinate operations. Helian gets a call from G&K HQ and takes the call, mentioning something about those T-Dolls being found, breathing a sigh of relief after hearing the information. After hanging up, Helian tells the commander she has an important mission for them, but needs to confirm the intel first. Before beginning the mission, Helian explains that their front lines have retrieved several injured T-Dolls that are in need of urgent care once they're transported back to base. But there's an SF outpost that's operating autonomously under minimal command along the transport route that's used. Wanting to leave no room for error, Helian tells the commander to take out the outpost. After shutting down the SF outpost and securing the transport route, Helian thanks the commander for a job well done, and explains that the injured T-Dolls may have been witnesses to something important, and, if the intel is true, it may mean war between G&K and SF. The T-Dolls arrive at the base, and Helian excuses herself. Now in the G&K factory, Mac 10 explains about being bored during the mission. Helian tells her to shut it and that she'd be in big trouble without help from the T-Dolls that came to her aid. Mac 10 doesn't care because she revels in risky combat. Helian continues pressing Mac 10 for information as she's one of the few survivors that's still capable of speech. asking what happened to STG-44 and PPSH-41. MAC-10 explains that she only knows that once Agent got there, she was in a hurry chasing something and that they only survived because they weren't her targets. Hellion mentions that Scorpion is the only T-Doll still missing and that MAC-10 and her were close. MAC-10 answers saying she wasn't on the front lines and doesn't know where she went, but if she's alive, she'll leave behind clues as to where she is. MAC-10 asks if they'll have vengeance for Scorpion and the other T-Dolls. Hellion responds by telling her to go get herself patched up, and they will very soon have her fun. Before starting the mission, Hellion briefs the commander, telling them that a friendly T-Doll named Scorpion has gone missing and is suspected to have fallen into SF hands. Because she may have vital intel, the commander is told to find intel on where Scorpion may be, and that the SF troops in this mission will actively seek out and attack G&K forces that are deployed. After the mission is complete and the relevant data is uploaded to G&K for analysis, Kalina informs that HQ has found important information that Scorpion is still alive but is in a tight spot and shows the commander a video. The video shows Scorpion being interrogated by Scarecrow. Scarecrow is surprised by Scorpion's cunning, with Scorpion stalling for time even though Scarecrow believes that her friends left her for dead. Scorpion denies this, but Scarecrow reminds her that AR Team are cold and highly efficient elite T-Dolls, and that Scorpion is nothing more than disposable goods for them. Scorpion further denies Scarecrow's claims, believing that M4A1 is her companion. Scarecrow offers to let Scorpion rot on the roadside if she tells her where M4A1 is, and that her emotions are merely fabricated lies. Not knowing where Scorpion is, Hellion instructs the commander to find and recover Scorpion regardless if she leaked information to Scarecrow or not. To reach Scorpion, the commander must first secure an SF recon base in the way. After securing the recon base and finding the coordinates to where Scorpion is being held, a group of G&K T-Dolls clear where she's being held. PPSH-41 is part of the group and goes over to Scorpion. Scorpion thinks she's dreaming, but PPSH-41 comforts her, telling her that she isn't in a dream. An hour later, in the HQ factory, Scorpion explains to Hellion that she didn't tell Scarecrow where AR Team is, rather giving her false information and that she'd never surrender such info to the enemy. Hellion believes her and wants to capture Scarecrow to find out what her objective is, and assigns Scorpion to the commander so that she may take her vengeance. In the final stage of Chapter 1, Hellion explains to the commander that they need to capture Sangva's ringleader model SP-65 Scarecrow, because of recent information received from a rescued T-Doll leading Hellion to believe that Scarecrow knows the details and objective behind recent SF raids. The commander must extract her memory module. After defeating Scarecrow, G&K T-Dolls immobilize and capture her. Hellion talks to Scarecrow, saying that her resistance were futile, suggesting that she surrenders now and G&K will seize her in one piece. While having her final monologue, Hellion tells Scarecrow that the information that Scorpion gave her was false. Scarecrow tells Hellion that it wasn't entirely false because G&K T-Dolls don't have such advanced AI. Scarecrow explains that she knows how G&K AI is designed, and that when they lie, they throw in some random data on top of the truth and shuffle the sequence. So even lies have a bit of truth in the mix. And all SF has to do is collect and analyze 3 different sets of false intel to find the common factors. Hellion asks how Scarecrow knows about the programming of G&K's AI as it's strictly confidential. Scarecrow doesn't answer, but rather says a sequence of numbers, and tells Hellion that she has found M4A1's coordinates. Hellion demands to know who she's corresponding with Scarecrow sending the coordinates to another SF doll named Executioner. After sending the coordinates, Scarecrow self-destructs her body. The mission ends with Executioner beginning to look for M4A1, admitting that they, quote, paid a huge price just to find her. The Chapter 1 emergency missions are mostly Hellion and Kalina giving the commander simulations of previous missions, with more difficult enemies, explaining what the mission is, and then congratulating the commander for clearing the missions. But there are a few important points within the dialogue, such as Kalina explaining that a sophisticated AI is behind the SF turning rogue as it disobeyed its commanders at SF and seized control over all of the T-Dolls in its factory, but it's only surface level knowledge as G&K hasn't dived deeper into its investigations. And the reason why Hellion couldn't make it to one of the mission briefings was because she was at a mixer and failed to find anybody. The Chapter 1 night missions start with MG5 informing the commander over video call that after Griffin reclaimed Area S09, Internal Affairs planned on converting it to a human settlement. But as soon as construction began, G&K scouts reported that a vast number of SF troops were stationed nearby. For the construction contractor to continue, Hellion needs information about the enemies to negotiate. G&K needs a T-Doll to check in with the other T-Dolls and acquire the newest recon report. The T-Doll in question is MP5. MP5 sheepishly introduces herself to the commander and explains that to avoid alerting the enemy, the operation will be during the night. Using NVGs and AP ammo will help during the operation. MP5 reaches the rendezvous location. MG5 comments on how smoothly things are going, as she was worried that the mission may have been too much for MP5. MG5 asks MP5 if she's found the scout for the area, which she hasn't because they're probably hiding. A voice comes out from a bush confirming that they were hiding. MP5 is surprised by this voice. WA2000 emerges and tells her to keep quiet unless she wants to die. MP5 apologizes and asks WA2000 for a situation report. WA2000 explains that there are armored bugs prowling all over the place, and asks how MP5 managed to sneak in alone. MP5 says that she was escorted by a commander in the area, which catches WA2000 off guard, as they suddenly switch to the commander's channel with MP5 reminding WA2000 to keep quiet as SF units are nearby. WA2000 is embarrassed and quickly thanks the commander for their help. MP5 asks if WA2000 is embarrassed, and WA2000 tries to brush off the interaction, and tells MP5 to get lost already because she has the recon report. Before she leaves, MP5 gives her a special supply package from G36, containing chocolate ice cream, and tells MP5 not to tell a soul about her ice cream. MP5 apologizes, as the commander is still online. MP5 asks WA2000 if this is the next recon checkpoint, with WA2000 confirming that it is, but MP5 will have to take it over before she makes contact because the enemies are strong. MP5 takes a note that WA2000 is good at taking care of others, which WA2000 explains that she's good because she's taking care of herself for a while. After clearing the area, MP5 meets with P7, who offers MP5 some snacks after a tough journey. MP5 eats one of the pies offered by P7 and spits it out, exclaiming that it tastes nothing like the pies she's had before. P7 tells her she got the recipe from Type 56-1, and that it's a delicacy from her homeland, made from 5 different types of nuts, and is only eaten on a particularly full moon every year. MP5 asks what kind of nuts she used, which are revealed to be 5 types of pepper and some cheese powder because P7 forgot what types of nut to use. MP5 tells that peppers aren't even nuts and asks why the cheese powder tastes like strawberries, with P7 explaining that Type 56-1 said she needed to add something called rock sugar, and tells MP5 to be thankful for getting served. MP5 doesn't like P7's pranks, but she still has a job to do and cannot let her emotions take over, handing over a large glass of ice juice from G36. P7 is hesitant to drink the juice as she believes it to be tomato juice, but hesitantly drinks it with a straw. From just a sip, P7 explains that it's super spicy and begins rolling on the ground. MP5 tells her that the juice is squeezed from a chili pepper called Viper, with a sip having the same effect as a tear gas grenade, and that G36 told MP5 to give P7 the juice if she tried to prank MP5. MP5 then takes the recon report and begins to leave, with P7 asking her for tomato juice. After receiving the recon report from P7, MP5 continues on to the next checkpoint. She asks MG5 if she's meeting with MG4, with MG5 explaining that MP5 will be meeting 2 other T-Dolls to fill in for MG4, as MG4 is on an important mission, and to identify each other using a password. MG5 tells MP5 to let her know if the 2 are giving her trouble. After arriving at the 3rd checkpoint, MP5 says the password GUELF, which means G11 in German, and hears something that isn't the correct response but tries again, which he finally gets a proper response of, "O ye mortal who summoned this elf by her true name, name thy wish." HK416 and G11 appear, with HK416 being embarrassed by having to respond when it was G11's idea for the code, to which G11 responds that making HK416 respond was the plan all along. MP5 asks the two T-Dolls if they're the ones she's supposed to be meeting, but the two aren't pleased with the hardships that they went through just for MP5. Before they can do something to MB5, MG5 steps in and stops them, threatening to kick HK416 and G11 out by asking Hellion to do something about them. Shaken at first, the two then remember that someone named 45 has arrangements so that they can have free meals anywhere. MP5 interrupts the argument, saying that she still needs the recon report. HK416 angrily hands it over and tells her to scram. Before she leaves, MP5 gives the ice cream G36 prepared for MG4 to the two, with G11 eating all of it because it's her favorite ice cream. MG5 taunts HK416, saying that her defection failed once again, with HK416 responding that she's had enough with living in a world full of morons. After collecting all the recon reports, MP5 thanks the commander for guiding her through the mission, as she believes herself to be weak and small, being incapable of doing anything. MP5 and the commander's final task to make it in time for Hellion's conference with the reconstruction contractors is to avoid detection by SF units. MP5 reaches the G&K temporary office without being detected, and delivers the recon reports to Hellion. Hellion looks over the reports, saying that SF has got their hands on many armored units, and the real estate agencies are going to be scared when they learn of it. MP5 asks if they have to counter the attack, but Hellion explains that the armored units are military units that were hacked by SF, and the military will have to clean up their own mess. MP5 also wants to do more and be relied on both by humans and her companions, which is why she accepted the assignment, because she wanted to become stronger. Hellion agrees and says that G&K T-Dolls are repurposed civilian T-Dolls that stand no chance against military T-Dolls. But there are only things that MP5 and the other G&K T-Dolls can do, and that G&K T-Dolls won't be inferior forever, though upgrading them takes time, manpower, and money. Hellion then gets a call from someone named Thompson and informs MP5 that a new mission has arrived. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow my Twitter for updates on videos, and check out my Azure Lane and Arknight's videos as well.